How glad and excited are you that proper 15-a-side international rugby is returning? I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but it's been a long couple of weeks. And as much as I say maybe rugby players should play less, I don't like it when there's no rugby. So I'm absolutely buzzing that the Rugby Championship returns. And this should be a belter. So what I'm going to do to preview the tournament, I'm going to pick, before a ball has been kicked, my combined 15. If you had access to every single Rugby Championship squad that has been named for the Four Nations, and you could only pick one player for every position, who would you pick? I think this will throw up some interesting talking points about where the balance of power lies, where the strengths and weaknesses, limitations and opportunities for each team are. And, well, also, I thought I'd do this at the end of every round of games. I'll pick a team of the weekend. I'll pick a team of the tournament at the end of the tournament. Why not kind of pick a selection before anything's happened? And we can compare then. We'll be able to compare the team of the tournament with the selections that I make before a single ball has been kicked. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm really hoping, if I haven't already, I would earn your subscription. And you could really help me out by giving the video a thumbs up. And that helps spread the word and get the excitement up for the Rugby Championship, which I am going to be coming in and watching in person. I'll be watching my first ever Rugby Championship game live. Cape Town and firstly Johannesburg, the two test matches between the two teams that were in the World Cup final. I was out there in Paris for the World Cup final and it was amazing. And every New Zealander and South African said that was unreal, incredible. But you've got to see a game between these two teams in one of those nations because it's something else. So I'm coming to South Africa again in a few weeks, and it's another reason to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my travels there. On we go with this team then. Your thoughts in the comments down below. I've gone for Oxenche at loosehead prop. Ethan de Groot was very, very close to the selection, and yeah, both incredible players. Just had to go with Ox. Ethan de Groot, very, very good, and I think that might sort of be one of the themes of this video is South Africans getting the nod in some positions, the New Zealander being very, very close. And that might be a metaphor for how the whole competition could go. Just one of the thoughts there I'll plant, one of the seeds I'll plant. A hooker I went for, Julian Montoya. Now, that's basically because Malcolm Marx is starting the tournament injured and he's not played a lot of rugby. So it's not that I say that Montoya is better than Malcolm Marx. I don't think that. Both fully fit and both available. I'd pick Marx 10 times out of 10, but Montoya, amazing player. And I'll tell you what, if Argentina are going to pull off any upsets or grab a scalp, maybe one in New Zealand, that guy, he will lead from the front in words and in deeds. He's a brilliant leader, 80-minute rugby player, absolutely awesome set piece, which has been creaking for New Zealand. So massive tournament required from Montoya for Argentina. Watch out, I would say as well, for, well, obviously Asafo Aumua looked really, really good with Cody Taylor for New Zealand, and Grobbelaar could get some minutes for the Boks and looks a real talent as well. Tight head prop, I just edged Tyrell Lomax. Now, I've been doing these player power rankings at the moment, which is also in the feed, and please go and watch those videos where I rank each position top 10 in the world. I've got Frans Malherbe at number 1 for that. And that's based on, yes, on current form, but also on historic form gets taken into account. But I'm just picking right now for this tournament. And I don't know, it was just a bit of a gut feeling. It was a coin toss, could go either way. But I just edged for Tyrell Lomax. I think his set piece is brilliant. And he's going to be, when New Zealand go to South Africa, he's got to be on his A game. And if he is, Tyrell Lomax, big old boy, very, very mobile. He can offer something that maybe other props in general cannot. And as long as he can get his set piece fundamentals done, he's a rising force. And in terms of the age profile of the New Zealand props, they've maybe got a little advantage over South Africa, who are starting to get older. So one to watch there. I just edged for Tyrell Lomax there. Second row, I went for Ibn Etzebeth and RG Snyman. I thought about Scott Barrett, but he is starting the tournament injured, and that just meant I went for Snyman over Barrett. Scott Barrett, brilliant player. I think underrated, actually, weirdly. I know he's the captain of his country, but I think he gets, just because of his disciplinary record and stuff, I think he kind of gets written off a little bit. I think he's an absolutely wonderful player. Obviously, Ibn Etzebeth, no question there. He's going to go down, certainly in the professional era, probably as the best player in his position, even above greats like Bakis Borta and the like, and Brodie Retallick. He's going to go down as the greatest in his position, certainly in the modern era. Can have a conversation about ever. Sneijman, I think this could be a breakout tournament for him. Can he get and hold on to that number 5 jersey? I know he's always been Ibn Etzebeth's backup. I just love him, his offloading game. And if South Africa are going to try and play a slightly different, more attacking style of rugby, I think Sneijman could come into his own. Back row then. Pieter-Steph du Toit, no surprises there. Yes, I've got him in a 6 jersey. If you're from South Africa, normally wears 7, but the rest of the world, pretty much, has the blindside flanker in number 6. So that's what I'm going with. Certainly that's what, on the whole, that's what Australia and New Zealand do. Argentina have a left-right thing, which is why Marcos Kremer is, some would argue, a blindside flanker, but as I say, Argentina don't have a blindside and an open side flanker. Marcos Kremer wears number 7. They go left and right. I've got him in the back row. I was very close to picking Fraser McReight, but Fraser McReight, just like Malcolm Marks and just like Scott Barrett, is starting the competition injured. So that just meant I went for Kremer. And I mean, that is one of the most scary packs you've ever seen so far. Those 2 flankers are nasty, as you like, in the best possible way. Probably the 2 best defensive players in world rugby. And Ardie Savia, the best attacking forward in world rugby. Absolute box office. This is a really interesting position when you look across the tournament, because you've got, for Argentina, how are they going to get their balance in their back row right? Will Gonzalez be given the number 8 jersey? He's only 23, but absolute baller. Oviedo looks a real talent as well. So how's that going to play out? Australia, are they going to go with Rob Valentini or someone else? And South Africa, I'm not going to say it's a problem position because they've got good players, they've got good options. But the fact is, I don't know where, at the end of this tournament, South Africa are going to be with their number 8 situation. Evan Ruiz seems to have been, nudged back down the pecking order. Elric Lowe is in. Will he get a start? There's talk of Pieter-Steph du Toit being nudged around to number 8. I don't expect to see that happen. Will Quagga Smith still be persisted with? A lot of fans are thinking he's only an impact player, and if Quagga Smith is going to start, he should be starting in their number 6 jersey, maybe over Siya Kolisi even, which I don't expect to see either. So it's weirdly, there's a bit of flux there for South Africa, and you don't know what the number 8 situation is going to be, whereas their biggest rival, New Zealand, have the current World Player of the Year, and that could be very, very significant. When you look at the pack overall, 4 South Africans in it, 2 Argentinians, 2 New Zealanders, that probably tells you where Australia are, although I have said Fraser McReight might have got the 7 jersey if he was fit, and guys like Rob Valentini, Taniela Tupou, you could imagine them ending up in a team in the tournament at the end of it. So they have got good players, but South Africa will be very, very strong there. But as I've said, the age profile of South Africa's pack is older. There's no getting around it. And New Zealand's just a few years younger and a little bit hungrier, and guys like Ethan de Groot, like Scott Barrett, you could imagine them ending up in a team of the tournament at the end of it. So it looks like South Africa are going to have the strongest pack, but I'd say watch out for Argentina and watch out for New Zealand, because particularly New Zealand, because they could be, they could change the picture on that massively. Your thoughts on the pack overall? As we move into the back line, I didn't know what to do at scrum half, I'm going to be honest. I cannot remember such a weak position across the board going into a Rugby Championship. I don't know who the scrum halves are going to be for pretty much every nation, which is bizarre when you've had, legends like Aaron Smith playing for New Zealand, when Faf de Klerk has been the automatic pick for years now, but he's starting the competition injured, and then when Faf de Klerk is fit again, there's been a lot of people questioning his form and whether he's the right person to engineer this new Tony Brown system of play. So I don't know what's going to happen with South Africa. Could Grant Williams even emerge and be the first choice number 9? He's only ever been picked by Rassie Erasmus in one match in the number 9 jersey. So I'm not 100% sure that Rassie Erasmus is convinced about Grant Williams at 9, but he could end up coming through and being the boy. I don't know what Australia are going to do. I hope that Joe Schmidt at this point just hands the keys to one half-back partnership and says, there you go, you're my guys, rather than changing, as he's been trying a few combinations out. Argentina, the half-back, has been a bit of an issue of late. Bertranou decent without being brilliant? Who's going to really take the reins? South Africa haven't got a clue. New Zealand, Ratimer, Hotham, obviously Perinara injured. Is he named in the squad? Yeah, so yeah, he could. Who's going to get the starting job there? Cam Roygaard on the sidelines looking in injured. Don't know what the situation's going to be. So I didn't know what to do. That's one of the big question marks of this whole tournament, the halfback selections, because I've gone for Handré Pollard at fly half, but he may not even be the starting guy. It could be Manie Libbok. It could, I don't expect it to be, but it could be Sasha Feinberg-Ngomazulu. I suspect it's going to be Handré Pollard, and if it was me, I would select Handré Pollard. I think he's thought of as a kicking fly half, but he's much, much more than that. He's got an all-round game. D-Mac, he's got the 10 jersey at the moment. I'm hoping he can kick on and just own it. But actually, at international level, he hasn't played a lot of rugby in that number 10 jersey specifically. So arguably, he's got something to prove. And I'm sure he will go on and do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if D-Mac was in a team of the tournament. And this looks very different. This could be a couple of New Zealanders in the halfback positions at the end of the tournament. But right here, right now, that's what I select. Tell me what you think. And Santi Carreras for Argentina, amazing player. As I said in the video in the player power rankings the other day, grab the reins, run this team. It's going to be really interesting to watch. Cheslin Colby on the wing, Mark Talea closely behind. And this is that theme that I just planted the seed of at the very start. South Africans getting the selection, the New Zealand option being very close behind. And I would say across the whole Rugby Championship, this is the best position of them all, because the four options, Cheslin Colby, Mark Talea, Marika Korombete and Mateo Carreras. That is just stardust across the board. All awesome players. Damien Diolende, just over Geordie Barrett at centre. Both world-class players. And I just gave Damien Diolende the nod. Huge player. Chocobaras is good for Argentina. How can Australia go in that midfield combination? Can they build a bit of chemistry? We'll wait and see. Outside centre, again, no question for me. Jesse Crill's been the best player in that position in the world for a couple of years now. Who is the New Zealand option going to be by the end of the tournament? You'd imagine it will start with Rico Ioane, and hopefully for him he plays well enough that he owns that shirt. But there's a lot of people starting to ask the question, could New Zealand be a better attacking force overall, and could they get the best out of Geordie Barrett, who is an undoubted world-class talent, with Anton Linnett-Brown or Billy Proctor, a conventional centre at centre? Could they get the ball to their danger guys in the back three, even more so with a conventional outside centre who's got maybe more of that distribution element? Rico Ioane, incredible athlete, phenomenal player, maybe has some limitations. So one to watch there. Kurtley Arendse, I went for him on the right wing. If Will Jordan was fit and available and hadn't just come back from a long injury, I'd probably have gone for Will. Oh no, I would have gone for Will Jordan in the 14 jersey. But because he's only just played a bit of NPC rugby and his first rugby since the World Cup, I've gone for Arendse at this point. The Butcher getting the nod, but there's some great players when you look across. Malia, Daungunu, Sevu Reece as well. I went for Beauden Barrett at 15, but again, is he even going to start at 15? Will he be on the bench? Will Perifetta, who did okay, he did well against England to start. Villy Leroux, class player. Juan Cruz Malia, already mentioned him. He could be great for Argentina. And Tom Wright looked promising for Australia as well. But Beauden Barrett, absolute world-class talent. I would have him in my 15, whether that's in the 10 or the 15 jersey. He'd be starting for me every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Absolutely love him. So when you look at that 15, the conclusions you make are, for all the talk about South Africa being incredible at the pack and dominant there, their back line is insane. And maybe you can start to see why Rassie Erasmus has taken the selection to, do you know what, I'm going to get Tony Brown in. Because he looks at these talents. And actually, when you look at the forwards for South Africa, they're getting a bit older. When you look at the backs for South Africa, they've got a slightly younger age profile. And they've got really good young guys coming through, like Sasha Feinberg-Ngomazulu that I mentioned. And you start to see maybe why South Africa could be evolving the way that they play. That said, I think that theme runs right throughout the team. the New Zealand option is so close behind the South African option, which is why a team of the tournament at the end, I think, will look very different to this. But going into the tournament, you'd have to say South Africa are clear favourites, and they should be favourites. They're playing New Zealand at home. They're the world champions. They haven't changed their coach. They've got a settled squad. They've got options in all positions. I don't know. Tell me if you think this is over the top. I think South Africa have to win this Rugby Championship. You say have to. They're world champions. They've got nothing to prove. But, okay, I'll put it like this. If they want to be in the conversation, and they're already in the conversation. Sorry, I'm not actually finishing the sentence at this point. If they want to be regarded as the greatest team of all time and go toe-to-toe with the Richie McCaw, Dan Carter, New Zealand team of 2011, 2015, they have to win this Rugby Championship. The stat that's been thrown around loads this last week or two, South Africa have the same number of Rugby Championships as they have World Cup wins. That, I would say, has to change. Just for example, I'm in the UK. I know a lot of Irish fans. And I know that as disappointed, heartbreaking as World Cups have been for Ireland fans, they have had the best time between World Cups. Winning Grand Slams, Six Nations Championships, tours in New Zealand, drawing tours in South Africa. They have had an amazing time for the 3 years in between World Cups. World Cups, not so much. South Africa, their fans, delirious at World Cups, when you could argue is all that really matters. But I think they want to elevate the performances between, and that's where it's going to be. As I say, I think this is just me picking today, right now, before a ball has been kicked. I think it will be very different come the team of the tournament. And there's a few positions, when you actually look at the selection across the board for all countries, massive ones to watch. The halfbacks, most importantly, who are going to be the halfback combinations and who's going to really step up and own it at this level. And Damian McKenzie, big championship for him. Whoever the 9-10 are for South Africa and the backup options, massive for them. Same goes with fullback. Basically, the decision-making positions, 9, 10, 15, huge. Can Santi Carreras grab his team by the scruff of the neck? Can the Australian combination, whichever Joe Schmidt goes for, have a breakout tournament and boss it? Huge one to watch. And I would also say, I could totally imagine the team looking very different. Lots and lots of New Zealand players just behind their South African alternative. In the back line, I mean, it could look completely different, even after a game, who you would pick in a combined team. So I think it's a lot closer than that combined team suggests, but South Africa have to be clear favourites. That's the way I read it. Different way of doing a preview for the Rugby Championship, and I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. How excited are you? Hit subscribe. Lots of content coming. I think the South Africa team gets announced tomorrow, so I'll have a video immediately following that. And then as we build up through the week to rugby returning, bring it on.